Hi, my name is Ryan Serrata, and today I am going to be talking about comparing and contrasting illicit drug trade groups and legitimate global trade systems and how they're kind of similar. I'm also going to be talking about the money laundering aspect within illicit drug trade. So first, we're going to kind of look at some similarities between the two systems. So first off, the NPR.com article brought to us that like big box stores, cartels will have exclusive relationships with certain crop growers. So this pretty much allows the cartel to keep cocaine prices the same, even if production is not the same. So, I mean, you can see this kind of with certain restaurants will decide to sell certain products. Like some restaurants might sell Coke products only, and some might sell Pepsi products only. It really just depends. The NPR.com article also brought us the idea that cartels can have monopolies over certain areas. It brought us an example of like Walmart. Walmart can have certain monopolies over some areas, especially if you go into like these small towns. There might only be that one Walmart, so that's where everyone in town is going to go there. So if other stores try to move into that area, it's not going to really work. Lawrence, Kansas, there isn't really a monopoly present. There's so many different stores. There's a Target, there's a Walmart, there's Dillon's. So that's really spread out. But cartels, they'll usually have a monopoly over a certain area. So everything just goes through them. And then because of these monopolies, it does not allow the crop grower to raise the price on the cocaine that they sell to the cartels because the cartel is the only one that's going to buy from that crop grower. That's the crop grower's only buyer. So if the buyer tries to raise the price, cartel can be like, hey, we don't like that price. We'll move on. And then boom, that buyer is now out of business and I mean probably in danger, especially working with the cartel. I also saw in a policinginsight.com, they talked about how cartels, they kind of work with distributors to deliver drugs around the world to regional wholesales, who then will bring those drugs from the regional wholesales to local retailers. I mean, you see this with a lot of those Target and Walmart's, these big, like the big box stores. They have these big warehouses. From those big warehouses, items are then brought into the local stores, and then those local stores will sell those products to the customer. Also, back to kind of that um, monopoly point, how cartels hold, they just hold control over an area. I mean, let's say there was a pen producer and I was the only one that would go out and buy those pens. If I decided, hey, I don't like this pen anymore, or I don't like the price of this pen anymore, I'm gonna go look for something else. This pen would business would go out of business because I would no longer be their buyer and I was their sole buyer. Something and now moving on into the money laundering aspect of the illicit drug trade. This was also on the policinginsight.com. Cartels will usually work with professional money launderers, and most of these professional money launderers are actually people that have pretty high up positions in the financial sector of the world. Um, I read in this article that I believe it was TD Bank was fined $3 billion for being associated with money laundering with illicit trades. Money laundering is pretty much just that process of making money untraceable. So then it's easily spendable by these cartels. Some of these techniques to money launder are you can wire transfer to offshore bank accounts, and then you can also put investments into shell companies. I mean, once the money is laundered to these cartel kingpins, I mean, that money's lost. It's no longer traceable. So they can just spend it however they want. Moving in that final part, we're going to look at some other kind of similarities and also some differences. Um, so like a legitimate commerce business, illicit drug trade will also rely on supply chains such as the production, distribution, and sale of their goods. So like any legitimate business, the drug needs to first be produced, then it needs to be distributed around the world, and then once it's distributed to its location, then anybody can go out and buy it. Another similarity is both just use different modes of transportation to get get goods around the world. I mean, cartels, they can use cargo ships by smuggling it on there. Like a business like Amazon or whatever, they can also use cargo ships to get their goods from one country to another country. Planes, speedboats. Well, speedboats is more of a cartel thing, but planes that can be used to smuggle drugs from another country. Planes are used to transport goods all over the world, just like UPS and FedEx planes. A final similarity is both will use the money that they earn to reinvest it back into their company in order for their company to continue to grow. Now, moving on to that final part, which is the differences between these two. Um, Illicit drug trade, they use violence and just the threat of violence to resolve certain conflicts, while legitimate commerce businesses, they're going to have to go through a court system to settle disputes with buyers, sellers, whatever they have to deal with. The final difference is that a legitimate commerce business, they have to follow certain laws and regulations that are put in place, while illicit drug trade markets, they can do whatever they want. I mean, their money is untraceable, so they can spend whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They just look for the most. And another similarity, I guess you'd say, is they both just look for how to maximize profits without spending too much money. So yeah, that's just a comparison between illicit drug trade networks and legit commerce systems.